Right, the hormone contraceptive pill. So I just go on, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay. My comment. This was given to my mother in January 1976. My comment. I'm surprised by the following chapter, as I've never taken the pill personally and have known a number of girls who have found themselves harmed by it. Of course, it is very convenient to just take a pill to avoid being in the situation of so many women of the past who were constantly pregnant and had no choice but to try to care for huge families that they could barely feed, until their bodies brought an end to it all by going into the menopause. I know that many girls of today prefer barrier methods to avoid interfering with their body's natural cycle. And I must admit that were I young again, I might feel the same, that there must be more work done to devise safe methods to avoid birth control is obvious. However, many native women use herbs known to them in their own countries to prevent pregnancy. People in the West have benefited greatly from the use of herbs and spices that have been brought to us from other lands, and perhaps a look at the other methods used by some of these native women could benefit us also. An idea that has been given to my mother, but details of which I have failed to find in her papers, was that it might be possible to inject a harmless vegetable dye into the ovaries, which would then show itself when ovulation was about to occur. However, that idea or any other needs consideration and research of an expert scientist to prove its validity and safety. Another piece of advice was given that a girl who has been taking the hormone pill for some time but who wishes then to have a child, that she should wait for a period of 1 year using barrier methods before trying to get pregnant, so as to be sure that her body had entirely returned to its proper menstrual cycle. Right, this is the dictation on the contraceptive pill. It is the will of creation that people of all creeds, races and colour should come to proper understanding of the various means by which they can regulate their members, and view with intelligence and educated minds the whole understanding of the union between men and women. The chemicals contained in the hormone pill for the regulation of births in women are not in themselves harmful to those that take them. This special knowledge has been given to mankind to help in the regulation of the world's population. All people are different, however, both physically and spiritually, and that is let me go back to that again. This special knowledge has been given to mankind to help in the regulation of the world's population. All people are different, however, both physically and spiritually, and what is harmless to one can be extremely harmful to another. People of the civilized world in this present humanity depend far too much on their physicians for their health and well-being. If they were to look to an intelligent and sensible attitude to their bodies, they would be much healthier. Many women who experience harmful side effects from this drug or hormone pill are already extremely unhealthy, especially those who are heavy smokers, coupled with a body overburdened by foods of quite the wrong kinds, rich in white sugar, excess starch, too much of the way of heavy meats, with a very low intake of correct foods, as were designed to keep mankind healthy, green and root vegetables, daily milk, and other dairy products. With increasing age, a diet which must be for health must be more frugal. Those who take the hormone pill should realize that it may cause undesirable effects, partially because their bodies are already unhealthy. Guidance is usually given for some other type of drug which may prove less injurious to the taker. All people must understand that human health begins and ends with the food that is taken into the body, and that a body that is continually bombarded with nicotine, white sugar, excess red meat, etc., is bound to be sluggish and lacking in the vitality it should have. The mental reflexes are also impaired by all these things. Many of those who claim that the hormone pill has caused them great harm are already very unhealthy. Many young women who have taken the hormone pill to avoid conception find that when they have reached mature age and wish to conceive, that this is denied them. Blame is immediately placed entirely upon the pill they've been taking. Young girls who begin to take these pills are at a very early age for one reason only, and that is to facilitate casual encounters with all kinds of different partners, must understand that this is repugnant to the laws of creation and is making an abuse of this pill in a way which has already been foreseen by serious thinking members of such religions as the Catholic Church, who banned it for this reason. But members of such religions as the Catholic Church must understand that deprivation of privileges cannot be the answer. Understanding and knowledge must always be the answer. Those who involve themselves in sexual activity of an entirely promiscuous kind must know that it can bring with it not only physical illnesses in the form of different venereal diseases, but a far more harmful spiritual disease, which is much more difficult to cure. Such women are unsuitable to be mothers to any child, who will often find themselves unable to conceive in their later years. For those who wish to ensure that they are capable of producing healthy children when they reach maturity and are in a proper loving partnership, they would have been well advised to shun all promiscuous behavior and to take the minimum of drugs of any kind until their childbearing years are past. Good health, both physical and spiritual, is the only way to wise and healthy parenthood, a family life. In a few years from now, there will be more knowledge given to the medical profession, which will enable them to restrict the female egg cell in a much less harmful way, as it will not entail the use of hormones. But this will not be possible with only the present knowledge. Those who take hormones must understand that any who suffer from the various afflictions of the body, like heart disease, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, blood disease, and any of these potentially serious ailments will find it considerably worsened by taking this drug. Only those in radiant health should ever take it. Also, it should be remembered by those who take this pill that the normal female menstrual cycle demands considerable energy in the loss of blood each month and the renewing of the lining of the womb, which is all part of the plan of creation. If this ceases, the normal expenditure of energy no longer occurs, and it is for this reason that some women become fatter, as so often do those in middle age who no longer have the reproductive cycle, which is menstruation. They must therefore eat less, which is the only way to avoid obesity and ill health. My comment. With this reference to the paragraph further up the page where they are referring to girls who have been promiscuous and have caught venereal diseases, I was horrified when attending a lecture on hip problems in the young. The doctor giving the lecture was covering infective hip disease in babies and said that the biggest cause in very young babies was the result of their mothers suffering with gonorrhea and passing it to their babies during childbirth. The consequent distress to the parents, the shame over the cause, and the worry about their child was totally a trauma for all concerned. In the passage above, it makes mention of girls who have been very promiscuous not being fit to be mothers. It must be remembered that male sperm is not just for fertilization of the female egg, the unsuccessful sperm being wasted. When two people who are in love and are lucky enough to find another who is electrically and spiritually right for them, the sperm ejaculated into the woman's body is also absorbed into the walls of the vagina and cervix and serves to enhance the woman's gynecological health and facilitate any future childbirth. But for women who have had sex with many different partners, and the different types of sperm will have the opposite effect. I remember the case of a woman who had 7 abortions. She had married and consented to have a child with her husband. Sadly, that child was born very premature and poorly and died after only a few days, although this particular woman seemed very unconcerned with her child. But her husband was heartbroken. Let me mention one other experience that I had when working in a clinic in London. I met a very charming woman who worked in the Samaritan Hospital near King's Cross and who had come across a number of girls who had fled children's homes or violent and unhappy homes, mostly from the north of England. They came to London with next to nothing, stowing away on trains and stepping off those trains straight into the arms of the different pimps who operated there. Having little education and having been brought up mostly in poverty, it was easy for them to see prostitution as their only recourse. This very compassionate and kind woman told me that by the time these girls had been having unprotected sex with different men for 6 months, they were so badly infected with the different sexual and bacterial infections that they were totally unable to have children. She said that the thing that shocked her, apart from the terrible health conditions these girls suffered with, was how emotionally hard they had become. Promiscuous sex does not help a girl to be emotionally or physically suitable to be a good and caring mother of a family. And although we women need to have more influence and power in the world, as men on their own so far have been making a very poor fist of it, if we do not have the children and provide the stability and the love that our families need, then there is no love in the world. We give love to our families, to our husbands if we're lucky to have them, and they in their turn give it to theirs. If only our politicians would stop contriving wars and killing all the young men.